Once upon a time, in a serene and sun-drenched countryside, there lived a cunning fox named Felix. Felix was famous across the fields for his shimmering red coat that gleamed under the sunlight and his eyes that twinkled with cheeky mischief. But what Felix loved the most wasn't the attention. It was the taste of juicy chickens. Nearby there was a field owned by a kind and elderly man named Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry had a heart as gentle as the summer breeze and a flock of the plumpest, cluckiest chickens you could find. Felix, always up for an adventure, had his eyes set on Mr. Henry's field, particularly his delectable chickens. One breezy morning, Felix set off on his quest to nab a chicken or two. He tiptoed softly, his bushy tail flicking playfully behind him like a feather duster. Closer and closer he crept, with each step filled with determination and a hint of mischief. Suddenly, Felix heard a voice from the nearby bushes. "Be careful, Felix," whispered Squeaky, the wise old raven, who often helped Mr. Henry by watching over his chickens. "Ah, you again, Squeaky." Felix chuckled softly. "Why don't you mind your feathers and let me have a delightful meal?" But Squeaky wasn't swayed. "You never learned, Felix," Squeaky responded. "Remember what happened the last time you tried this? The chickens are not as easy to catch as you think." Felix shrugged with a sly grin. "This time I have a plan," he boasted, though he hadn't quite figured it all out. He waited patiently by the entrance of Mr. Henry's field, watching the busy clucking of the chickens. Just as Felix was about to dart into the field, an idea sprouted in his crafty mind. He could use the old wheelbarrow nearby to hide and sneak in without being detected. With nimble agility, Felix climbed into the wheelbarrow and pulled a few hay strands over his bright fur.
He was sure he'd outsmarted both Mr. Henry and Squeaky this time. Slowly, he rolled the wheelbarrow closer to the field's entrance without a sound. Just when his plan seemed flawless, a surprising twist happened. A sudden gust of wind blew the hay aside, revealing Felix's furry ears. The chickens noticed, and chaos erupted. Clucking shrill warnings, they flapped and scurried until Mr. Henry came running with his trusty rake. "Shoo, Felix, shoo! You know better," hollered Mr. Henry, waving the rake with all his might, sending Felix scampering back into the woods. As Felix turned back, panting slightly but with a wide grin, he called out playfully to Squeaky, "Next time, old friend, next time." And so, despite his cunning plan, Felix's adventure ended with lessons learned and a resolve to try again another day, always keeping the countryside lively.